Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dumb Jocks podcast. As you can see, we're not all next to each other on that fucking couch. We're all in our separate little places.
Oh, dude, I already missed the couch.
You and me today.
Hey, listen. But we're back. NFL Week 1 has concluded. Week 2 starts tonight on the night of this recording. In today's episode, we're going to go over some of the games from this week. We're going to have our overreactions from week 1. We're going to preview Thursday Night Football tonight. And we're going to rock out tonight, boys. So how are we feeling? Week 1 of the NFL is over. How are we feeling, ladies and gentlemen?
It was a rough weekend for the three people on screen. I'll say that.
Yeah, definitely could have been better.
Well, it was rougher for two of us than it was for one of us.
And of the two, it was rougher for one of them than the other.
All right.
Just attacking out the gate.
You know what? We'll start there with my.
Maybe Mike is going to have to break up a fight between us today.
So, well, I guess since Mike wants to be a dickhead today, we'll start there with my Seattle Seahawks, who unfortunately lost 30-13 to the Rams at home in Lumen Field. I have no words. It was just an embarrassment on both sides of the ball. Offensively, couldn't do anything. Defensively, couldn't stop a nosebleed. It was not a fun game. Lost both of our starting guard. Lost our starting guard and tackle. Tyler Lockett has a concussion. Devon Witherspoon and Jamal Adams didn't even play. It was just not a good weekend. Not a good weekend. Yeah. Somebody help me, please. I have no words for this game.
Okay, I thought this was more the Rams played well than Seattle played poorly. I thought the Rams got a lot of pressure early and kind of rattled Geno, and after that, the Seattle didn't really try the deep intermediate game past the first quarter, and I think that really hampered them. They weren't stretching it, and it was definitely week 1 because there was a lot of sloppy penalties on Seattle that I think really hurt them in big situations.
I think I know exactly what penalty you're talking about. DK Metcalf, get your fucking head out of your ass. What are we doing pushing Akil Witherspoon in the back for no reason?
There was also a couple of holds on punts that gave the Rams better field position.
Oh, yeah. It was.
Sorry, I wrote special teams here. So.
Well, I think that was the thing that really shoots you in the foot is they lost the game. They kind of blew it themselves. They were really digging themselves into holes.
If you look back at that game in the first half, Seattle, they come down on their second drive or whatever. You know, they scored the touchdown to DK on the fade route. But it's like after that, it was like the offense was abysmal. They couldn't get anything going on the ground. Geno couldn't throw the ball to anybody. It was just, well, and I think that goes to the offensive line not being healthy. Geno was getting pressured basically constantly, so didn't have time for many of his receivers to get open. But still, I mean, they couldn't run the ball for anything. They could do nothing. So it was
I do also want to. This wasn't just Seattle losing the game. I thought Matt Stafford played remarkable. He has two receivers that majority of fans hadn't heard of, led his team this week. I tried to warn you guys, if that team is healthy, that is a dangerous team.
Well, that's what I was saying too. It's if they're healthy, and they might be missing Cooper Kupp, but Matthew Stafford looks pretty good.
I think you saw I think Stafford basically reinstated himself of he's better than most of these quarterbacks that we were putting above him. It was just he was unhealthy. A healthy Matthew Stafford is a fringe top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
I think he's still firmly a top 10 quarterback.
I mean, yeah, probably, but he's on the lower half. But he's definitely, I think,
certainly. But I mean,
he's definitely on the down end. But like, he's also getting older. But I think we still got some good year of Matthew Stafford going.
I mean, Mike, I sent you a graph after that game. He absolutely torched Seattle over the middle of the field.
Yeah,
I mean, Tutu Atwater and I forget what the other guy's name is, but absolutely destroyed the middle of the field. The one positive I will take away from this game for Seattle is Tyreek Woolen didn't miss a step at all. 87 snaps, 1 catch for 5 yards, I'm pretty sure. But yet people are going to try to say it was his fault. That was a game where their secondary was not fully healthy. Like I said, no Jamal Adams, who's still recovering from his injury from last year. The number 5 pick, Devon Witherspoon, did not play this past weekend. He's expected to play this weekend against Detroit. But I mean, they could get no pass rush, which I was talking a couple days ago with someone else. But unless Devon Witherspoon has a Tyreek Woolen type rookie season, I think Seattle's going to very much regret passing on Jalen Carter at 5. because the change he could have made for this pass rush, I think, would have been insurmountable for them. Because we saw how, just on the other side, we saw how impactful Aaron Donald was getting the pass rush towards Geno. I just feel like Matthew Stafford was so comfortable in the pocket that he was able to just pick apart whatever he wanted on that Seattle defense. And I don't know if anyone else has anything to say about this game. But
tough to have any other thoughts on that. You said everything.
I mean, I think if you're Seattle, you just move on to next week. You're going into Detroit, but I think you just need to play with a more sense of urgency.
And a master class by Sean McVay. I mean, I think he had 25 rookies on that roster.
Oh, yeah.
This was the final number.
I mean, as much as I want to say that Seattle did not play to their potential. I think we can all agree there. That was not the best version of Seattle. But honestly, I think you can make an argument where even if Seattle plays their best, LA still could have won that game, even if Seattle played at their best.
I think you can make a firm argument that the Rams didn't play their best for the majority of the second half specifically, and they didn't have Cooper Kupp.
Well, I think they played a lot better in the second half than they played in the first half. I think Seattle played better in the first half than they played in the second half. But yeah, that's all I got to say for that game. Yeah, we move forward to Detroit. We move forward.
We're on to Detroit.
Where do we want to go to next? Because we got two options here. I know where I want to go. I want to go to the other beatdown that we experienced out of us three this week.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to head over to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to talk about the Steelers and 49ers. Mike, what happened?
The Steelers faced a better team, got punched in the mouth early, and didn't recover.
Got their asses kicked. Mike, you can take it away. This is your team. You just kind of you just take it away here, buddy.
I mean, I feel like there was hope for him in times. Definitely didn't have the best game versus one of the best rosters in the NFL.
I mean, I knew that game was over after Fred Warner almost killed Najee Harris. I knew that game was over right then and there.
I knew the game was over when they went down 10-0 and then went 3-and-out. At that point, there was no coming back.
Yeah, gotta get some sort of points on that drive. I think with all
we have a feeling among fans and people that cover it, when the Steelers get just absolutely beat down, we think they're going to recover. We expect them to be competitive. It felt like the team expected that of themselves, but didn't put the work in. They just thought it was going to happen. Because you're not hanging with the 49ers if you're not prepared for it.
That's what it did look like, though, Mike. It just looked like they were unprepared for whatever Kyle Shanahan was going to throw at them offensively. It's like Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk were torching that secondary.
I think Brandon Ayuk had 40 catches, it felt like.
That's what it felt like. But then you go back and look at the stats. He only had, 8, I think?
8 for 130.
With 2 touchdowns, and then Christian McCaffrey tore apart that front seven in the run game. I mean,
TJ held him.
TJ Watt did his thing. So.
He did the best he could, but I mean, you have a game. Cam Hayward goes down hurt. Deontay Johnson goes down early. There was really no coming back. I will say, Kenny Pickett, I think, is getting a little too much blame. He had no time to breathe. The play calling made absolutely no adjustment to the 49ers playing with their hair on fire. I think they needed to get into the quick passing game more. They needed to get Pickens in the quick passing game, Deontay in the quick pass game before he got hurt. They needed to use Freiermuth over the middle more, try to draw Fred Warner out on some decoys, but there was nothing, no adjustments. They made a game plan and they stuck to it, and the game plan wasn't a good one.
I mean, I think that's been the story with even Pittsburgh last year with Matt Canada as the offensive coordinator. Is whatever the game plan is, it's hey, we're gonna do this. If this doesn't work, we're fucked.
There was no on-the-fly adjustment to
It's Mike. I think you know how high I think of George Pickens. I think he has the potential to be one of the top receivers in the NFL. And I just think that Matt Canada just doesn't want to put him in the play call. It almost feels like he intentionally doesn't want to give him the foot. This is kind of like how we feel about Kyle Pitts in Atlanta. It almost feels like they just don't want to throw him the football, even though he's one of their best playmakers that they have.
This is one I will challenge you a little on. George Pickens is a tough guy to scheme because he's not a great separator. But I think you do need to find a way to get him just in open field or give him 50-50 balls.
I was going to say, but with what he makes up with not being a great separator, I mean, we've seen the highlight plays.
He's going to freaking catch it, dude.
50-50 balls are not 50-50s for him. They're more like 60-40s, 70-30s, where if you throw it up to him, he's gonna catch it. And it's not like San Francisco was doing anything complicated on defense. They were kind of just running the normal San Francisco defense.
Yeah, I mean,
which is good enough to beat most teams in the NFL. It was just a rough week for your Steelers.
Defensively, there was really no adjustments to the motions that Shanahan was throwing at them. There was nothing. They held McCaffrey in check all right, I felt, in the first quarter, and then after that, they just kind of lost it.
That one touchdown run he had, I don't know who he circle buttoned on, but whoever got hit with that spin move might have gotten cut from the roster because that was bad. And then Brandon Ayuk, threw an absolute mean block, but I think to take it from San Francisco's side, I expected nothing less. Brock Purdy just showed again why he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. He's not going to lose you the game, but he's going to do everything that you ask of him to win you the game. I think I heard a quote from Trent Williams where he was almost hoping Pittsburgh was going to do something because the offense needed a break.
Yeah.
And you know you're beating the shit out of a team when the offense of the other team is begging you to do something so they can get a break. Yeah, nothing really.
I don't know if Mike has any thoughts, sir.
Yeah, any thoughts?
I like seeing the potential I think the offense has, and I think your defense will just grows in more with time. And you played the best roster, one of the best rosters in the NFL. You know what I mean? You can't get too down on it.
Speaking of playing one of the best rosters in the NFL, Mike, your boys up in New England. That was a close one up there in the Foxborough, huh?
Yeah, no, the Pats had a chance to win that.
Take it away, my friend. This is all you. Take it away. What'd you like? What'd you dislike? Let's hear it.
The offense figured it out after the first quarter, started actually moving the ball and doing things correctly, which I think is huge. I think they might have went in with a game plan, but they knew to switch it up and do what they had to do to actually succeed. I have to accept that. I feel like coaching really helped lose this game. I think there are times we went for it on fourth down where we could have kicked a field goal and could have been in a game-winning situation within 2 minutes to go to kick a game-winning field goal down by 2. The defense looked really good. They were actually getting to the quarterback. They were slowing them down. Devonta Smith was getting open and finding it, but for the most part, A.J. Brown was getting shut down. It was a lot of Christian Gonzalez over there, it seemed like, on him. I was happy with him. He actually made a couple good tackles. I heard a lot that was a big problem with him. But I have to accept that. I feel like coaching helped lose that game. I think there were times where we left points on the board, but we competed with one of the rosters in the NFL, and despite all that, we still had the ball in our hands with a chance to win the game and could not pull it out and succeed.
I think for me, what New England showed me is that they're going to be a tough team to beat this year, regardless of how much talented other rosters may be. Their defense is going to be, in my opinion, a top 5 defense. And their offense looked a lot better. I think the coaching change from Matt Patricia to Bill O'Brien, I think you clearly saw a different Mac Jones this week than you saw all of last year. He looked more confident in the pocket. He looked more confident going through his progressions and through his reads. The touchdowns that he threw to Kendrick Bourne, I think, were some of the best balls I've seen him throw so far in his career.
They were fantastic.
Surprisingly, the running game was not as good for New England as I expected it to be, but against that front seven of Philly, I expected it to be a little less.
Yeah, and
with no Cole Strange, and I forget who else was out on the offensive line, but I know there was some injuries to New England's offensive line.
Michael Omenu was out the other starting guard.
Yeah.
So for that, I'll cut them some slack there, but what they didn't have in the run game, they made up for in the pass. Mike, you mentioned Christian Gonzalez. I think he did just fine against one of the best receivers in the NFL in A.J. Brown. And
he did as well as you could ask for a guy making his first start for
a rookie making his debut against A.J. Brown. I think he did
any easier for the kid.
I think he did thrown to the wolves.
I think he did a very great job. I think that New England defense in general, Mike, when we previewed this team earlier on, before the season started, we said their defense was going to be a bright spot. And I think they showed that against one of the better offenses.
I thought
One of the big
ahead,
things
Mike.
I noticed too was, although that front seven was stopping the run, there wasn't a lot. That Mac Jones didn't get sacked. There was a little bit. There was some pressures and some hurry ups, but
I
he
will
didn't get
s-
hit much.
I will say Jalen Carter was absolutely destroying that offensive line. He may not have been sacking Mac
No,
Jones,
yeah,
but he
he
was
was.
definitely getting to Mac Jones.
Yeah, they were making sure he got rid of that ball quick.
But I mean, I think we forget that Jalen Carter was like the projected best player in this draft, not at the quarterback position.
Was the number one pick before Carolina traded up.
Yeah,
I
pretty
think a
much.
lot of people forgot
And
that.
I think he proved that. And like I mentioned earlier with Seattle, I think a lot of teams are going to regret passing on Jalen Carter because he proved in week
Detroit,
one.
what are you doing?
I think he proved in week one that no matter what you're going to throw in front of him, he's going to destroy it. Him and Jordan Davis are going to destroy whatever front seven you put in front of them.
No, yeah, they were scary.
I'm excited for when they play San Francisco because I'm excited to see which one of those two Trent Williams decides to take.
I do also want to bring up there was I noticed a lot of I think I counted 8 drops in the total game for the Patriots. One of them led to a pick six deflected off the hands of Bourne. I mean I don't think you can put that on Mac Jones. Wasn't a perfect throw, but it was a receiver had 2 hands on it.
It's a 50-50 for me. I think it wasn't the greatest throw by Mac Jones, but I do think Kendrick Bourne should have at least been able to have knocked it down to where it doesn't get intercepted.
Yeah, like it was still raining at that time and stuff. It just went right through his hands.
I think
he went up, and like any other time, I think, like you said, like I think his fingers batted down or something, but it literally went right through him.
And then you look at the other turnover, they had the Zeke fumble. I mean, Jalen Carter punches that right out of his hand.
Yeah, you can't do that's just a great play. You can't do anything about
that. Yeah, I can't give anybody on offense. That was just defense working.
Yeah, you saw with New England, once they were able to cut the turnovers back and really get into their offense, they looked a lot better.
I will say, after the two turnovers and Philadelphia went up 16-0, it kind of felt like New England outplayed them for the majority of the game after that. And then the Patriots just kind of got out-personneled in it. It didn't feel like they were ever outmatched coaching-wise. Didn't feel like they were ever had no answers. Philadelphia just has more game changers.
To look at it from Philly's side,
that's going to be it. That's going to be what happens to the Pats.
To touch on it from Philly's side, I don't think Jalen Hurts played very well. I do think Philly does miss Miles Sanders a lot because I don't think DeAndre Swift is the answer to that run game. I don't think their offensive line played particularly well either. And then we mentioned A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith didn't have the greatest of weekends. I just think overall Philly, it almost looked like they were playing down to New England where they got up 16 and just thought they could coast through the rest of the game, which wasn't the case. But I think you did see that defense towards the end of the game for Philadelphia definitely step up, make sure that, hey, we're closing this game out. I mean, I look at Philly the same way I looked at the Chiefs on Thursday night. I think they just played a little down to whoever they were playing. And I mean, the only difference between them and Kansas City is Philly won their game, Kansas City lost their game. I think that's going to be the tale for week one is not a lot of teams played great. Most teams played average to good or below average. But I think for Philly's side, just improve on what happened this week. You know, a win's a win. You know, you don't have to win pretty in the NFL. You just got to win.
I'm not one that's big on moral victories, but I think the Patriots can absolutely take a moral victory from this. They hung with a team far superior to them, and they were in the game till the final 54 seconds.
I mean, if that receiver just gets his feet down, I think New England probably wins that game.
If there ever was a moral victory, it was this week.
Sean Booty. He was real booty because that was twice in that game where he couldn't get those feet down.
And Tim, he hasn't learned it yet, dude. That was his first NFL game. He hasn't figured out that he's not in college. He needs both of them. It's okay.
Oh yeah.
They let him figure it out.
I don't know where we want to go to next. I have a game in mind where I want to go.
It sounds like you have a game in mind, dude. Where do you want to go?
Personally, for me, I want to go talk about the Colts and the Jaguars. I thought that was one of the best played games of the weekend. We got to see the debut of Anthony Richardson. We got to see the Jaguars debut of Calvin Ridley. I'll let you guys go first on this one. I don't know.
Trevor Lawrence with Calvin Ridley, a true number one. Christian Kirk under the number two. Christian Kirk didn't see that much stuff, dude, but it was awesome.
Christian Kirk's the number 3. Zay Jones is the number 2.
Put Zay Jones there, okay.
Yeah.
I actually didn't watch didn't get to watch the second half. I only watched the first half, but I thought Anthony Richardson looked very composed. He was very calm in his first start, which is not something you see. Jacksonville didn't really do a lot to pressure him though defensively. But Trevor Lawrence picked up right where he left off at the end of last year, and I think he's going to be an MVP candidate by the end of the season.
Oh yeah.
And people forgot Calvin Ridley they forgot how good he is.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's not like he was hurt or anything. He just happened to be gambling. So yeah,
He's trying to be doing things against the NFL rules. It's okay.
I mean, hey, if you're that
Josh
good,
Gordon, I would love to do. Josh Gordon come and drop 200 on your head and be suspended the next week, dude. It's whatever.
Hey, all I gotta say is, if you can bet on yourself and you're that good, hell, I'd do it too. As we all know, I'm a very big advocate of Anthony Richardson. I think he played the best out of all the rookie quarterbacks this week. I think he, at least for me, he showed that he can throw the football. I know a lot of people question that. There was a couple of throws that did get away from him. Of course, he had the interception. Another thing is he needs to learn how to slide. We saw him leave that game late with an injury. He needs to learn that this isn't college. These guys can actually hit. But overall for Richardson, Mike, you said that Jacksonville didn't do much to pressure him. I think because with a quarterback like that, even if you get pressure to him, he did a very good job, at least in my eyes, of evading the pass rush. There was a couple of times where I think he tried to do a little too much, but I think that'll come with experience. That'll come with more reps for him. But he looked great in my eyes. I think he looked very solid. I mean, of course, room for improvement, but that'll come within the following weeks. But it's a great start to what I hope is a great NFL career. And then on Jacksonville's side, like you said, Trevor Lawrence picked up right where he left off. I said it in the offseason. I was so excited to see Trevor Lawrence with a true number one receiver. And you saw from the very opening snap, Jacksonville's goal was get Calvin Ridley involved. And boy, did they do that.
Definitely did that.
Definitely got him involved. Yeah, Jacksonville. I mean, both defenses didn't really impress me, but I didn't plan on being impressed by both defenses. I was just looking at the quarterback play because I thought this was a great quarterback.
I was going to say too, and the Jags are about to have a hard test.
The Jaguars missed a lot of tackles in the first half. I think they allowed the Colts to gain probably a lot of extra yardage.
And I think, we talk about moral victories. I think as Colts fans, I think you can look at this game and say, hey, we competed with one of the top teams, not only in our division, but in the AFC. Anthony Richardson showed you that he's a good enough quarterback where he can go toe-to-toe with these top guys. And I'm excited to see how the rest of the season goes for Indianapolis. Hopefully Jonathan Taylor comes back in place for them. I doubt it, but hopefully. And then on Jacksonville's side, it's a week 1 win against a team that you should have beat. You went out there, you handled business. Like I stated earlier, you don't have to win pretty, you just have to win. Where to next? Someone give me a game. Where to next?
Where to next, dude? You want to travel?
I do like to travel.
I want to go to Landover. Talk about the Cardinals and the Commanders.
Shit.
Oh, John, you knew this was going to happen.
Take it away, because I don't want to talk about these two teams. I'm going to be honest.
You mean you didn't love Joshua Dobbs?
There was nothing in this game that caught my eye at all.
I thought Sam Howell looked great for a guy making his second start. He didn't force anything. He fit into some really tight windows. But I do want to say they're running to me too much of the Kansas City offense where you're relying on run after catch with guys like Kansas City, Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman. I don't think you quite have those guys in Washington. You need to be able to air it out more. I don't know if they were unwilling to, if they didn't want to put that on Howell yet, or if they just don't have the guy. I think they have the guys to do it.
I think,
and I think they left probably 2 drives come to mind for me where they left points off the board, and that would have really put the game away. Because watching this game, this was more decisive than a 4-point game.
I mean, Sam Howell did give Arizona 7 points. I think he tried to do too much on that scramble. At that point, you're getting pressure.
I think that's one like we talked about with Richardson. That's one like we talked about with Richardson. That'll just come with experience. Just throw it away.
Just throw it away, or just if you know you're gonna go down, tuck the ball, go down, take the sack. I want to say though, I I do honestly, I like the way that they're running their offense. I think they have the personnel to run a Kansas City offense with yards after catch. I think Terry McLaurin's great. Brian Robinson in the running back position, I think he's also great. I'm missing a name. I can't remember what his name is. Jahan Dotson. I think he's also another guy that you can get in open space and make things happen. Defensively for Washington, I hear a lot of hype for this defense. It wasn't that impressive to me. I don't think it's going to be. I mean, Chase Young.
Part of that is they didn't really have to make a whole lot of plays. They just kind of let the Cardinals stumble over themselves,
which is kind of what we expected. Expected
from the Cardinals.
I think to touch on Sam Howell, I think he did play good, but like we talked about Richardson, just a couple of mistakes that I think he's going to clean up later on. And we're going to talk about some other rookies later on in this episode that definitely have some mistakes they need to clean up. But overall, and then I think it was a good game. On the Cardinals side, like you said, Mike, they fought. That's all. Like they looked better than I think we expected them to.
Yes.
They didn't look great, but they looked better. I mean, the defense got to Sam Howell a couple times. I mean, like I said, this game just wasn't a game that I really tuned into very much of. I just
only note I have on the Cardinals is Paris Johnson looked really good. That's promising. You have a first-round pick tackle. That's promising for the future.
Kind of kept Josh Dobbs upright.
Yeah. As much as he could. There were 4 other linemen. I can't say that about.
That's true.
Humphreys was okay.
I don't really know where to go anywhere, Mike. I don't know if you have any other thoughts on this Cardinals Commanders game.
But I just have to push my Sam Howell agenda.
Yeah. Other Mike, Patriot Mike. Any thoughts on this game? Or?
No, there was nothing crazy going on there. The Cardinals.
All right. Mike, how about you pick where we go next? Me and Steeler Mike have already picked where you want to head to.
I'll give you one that I know you want to talk about and yell about a little bit. We got Bengals Browns. Joey B could not go into. I don't even know the name of the Browns stadium, but they couldn't go in there and win. They were 2-8 in their last 10, dude, and they couldn't do nothing.
Joe Burrow
looked like they didn't.
Fun fact, I'm pretty sure. Fact check me if I'm wrong on this. Joe Burrow has yet to beat the Cleveland Browns in his NFL career.
That is incorrect. He is 1-5 against them.
Oh, sorry.
He beat them in the end of last year.
He is 1-5 against the Cleveland Browns. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say it. Joe Burrow, this was the worst game of his NFL career. Hands down. He was terrible. I don't want to hear that he was hurt because he was playing. If you're on the field, clearly you're not that hurt. I don't want to hear about the weather because there was a quarterback playing in the exact same weather that he was playing in, and he didn't throw for 82 yards. Their run game didn't look good. T. Higgins, I think, had 8 targets and 0 catches. That's uncharacteristic of T. Higgins. I think Jamar Chase had 4 catches for 40-something yards, something like that. He didn't play well. Their offensive line was bad. Their defense wasn't great. I think this was I just think Cleveland just played a lot better. And Mike, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but that Cleveland defense, that is scary with how good that defense looked.
That is a unit that offense. Finally feels like it was what we all knew it had the promise to be. Myles Garrett looked great. Secondary looked great.
I mean, come on. That man's doing crossovers at the line of scrimmage and
just destroying them. Just literally destroying them.
If the Browns can play like that every week, we're gonna have I think that might be the team that goes to the Super Bowl this year. If they can play like that, I don't know if any team's gonna beat them.
And I know Deshaun Watson, one of his not first games, but it was a much better showing this week than we saw the last 6 games from him last year. I just think
his motion did look a little off early. He was throwing it almost like a baseball.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very weird motion.
I mean, I think that'll improve as time goes on. The run game for Cleveland, we all know how great Nick Chubb is. I think he's the best running back in football because he had 100-something rushing yards. It was the quietest 100 rushing yards I've ever seen in an NFL game. I didn't even know he had 100 plus until I looked at the box score after the game.
I didn't know he had 100 until I checked my fantasy team.
And then I realized, oh, okay. With Nick Chubb, it's just so natural for him to rush the ball that well. But I think Deshaun played overall. I think he played pretty well. I'm pretty sure they lost the starting tackle, I'm pretty sure, to an ACL injury. So don't know.
Yes, Jack Conklin.
So I don't know how that's going to work for the rest of the year. But I think for Cleveland, a very big win for them to play a division rival, to dominate a division rival like that. Because as much as we want to say the Bengals offense, the weather, the Bengals offense just simply got shut down. And Joe Burrow was just, quite frankly, he was awful. And I'm not going to overreact. I don't think Joe Burrow is going to play this bad ever again.
No, and I mean,
maybe next time they play the Browns.
Week 1 last year, Joe Burrow came out against the Steelers and threw four interceptions.
Picks. And,
it's Bengals have always been a team that started slow with Joe Burrow. I'm not panicking yet.
I'm not either.
But if they come out next week against Baltimore and they fall to 0-2 when they're 0-2 in the division, that's a deep hole to dig out of.
I will say, if the game is close, I won't be as concerned. But if they come out and get dominated like this again,
yeah,
I think we're gonna have to. Some questions are gonna have to rise, especially if the offense looks this bad again. Because this was the worst I've seen the Cincinnati offense since Joe Burrow's taken over. This is the worst I've seen it by far. So. Yeah, nothing really much to.
That's all I have on it.
That's all I have.
We just need to see the Browns put a couple weeks together, dude. See if they're really it right now. See if they got to where they want to be.
Oh yeah.
All right, John.
Do we want to go to another? Do we want to go to another rookie, or do we want to go?
We'll do rookies first. Then we'll do your favorite game of the week.
Oh yeah. Which rookie would you like to start? Number 1 or number 2?
You pick.
I think we go with number 2. I think we get him out of the way first. Let's go ahead over to Baltimore. C.J. Stroud and the Texans fall to the Baltimore Ravens. I think it was 22-9. I'm correct.
I believe 25-9.
I don't know if they got.
It was a weird scoring game.
25-9.
25-9. Okay. On the Houston side, C.J. Stroud looked promising. He didn't play, I would say, particularly bad. Didn't play great. Just played good. Did his job. Sadly, couldn't find the end zone, but I don't expect him to with no weapons around him.
He did find the end zone, but he also didn't throw a pick.
That is true. I don't think he threw a pick. Will Anderson defensively was getting a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson, so that's something that you're happy to see. If you're a Texans fan, your two top 3 picks really proved themselves, I think, in week 1. But overall with Houston, we expect them to be bad. I think the only thing, Mike, I don't know if you agree with this, but the only thing I'm looking forward on this team is just seeing the improvements from C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson week after week. As long as they're making improvements, I think Houston's okay. And, just play for a top pick next year and improve, get some weapons for C.J. Stroud, and hopefully...
They don't have their pick next year.
Oh, yeah, they traded it. I forgot. That's how they got Will Anderson.
That's what I'm saying. The Cardinals, that's a team with a promising future if
Paris Johnson keeps
playing well.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I think the 2 rookies played great. To touch on Baltimore's side, Mike, I think we talked about it before we started recording. Baltimore's offense did not look as impressive as I thought it was going to. Granted, as I've said multiple times, it is week 1. I want to give this offense some time. Zay Flowers looked very good for his first regular season game.
Yeah.
Lamar looked kind of sloppy with the football. He had the fumble, but that's just one of those where that's a rookie fumble in my eyes. You got to tuck the ball there. We can't just be coughing it up like that. They didn't really target Odell. Odell looked a little rusty, but I expect that getting in his first full year back in football. I want to just say the prayers out to J.K. Dobbins. What another unfortunate injury for I'd say one of the unluckiest running backs in the NFL. That's now his second leg surgery. He had the ACL
second ACL in 2 years, or second ACL in 3 years. Excuse me.
This is an Achilles injury this time. So he's already had the ACL. This time it's the torn Achilles. But overall, I think Baltimore just handled business. Kind of did what they were supposed to do. Nothing really.
You brought up Lamar, and I'm not going to say he played bad. He did look hesitant to kind of air it out. I think part of that is he knew he didn't need to against Houston. He did have the pick early to Steven Nelson. That to me that's a play where you tuck and run it. That's not a play where you force that throw. That was a tight window.
That's a play where you be Lamar Jackson, not what
Yeah.
people want you to be. You be what you are.
That's a play where you beat Lamar Jackson, not Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. Only one guy can do that, and his name's Patty fucking Mahomes.
I think Herbert could have made that throw.
Yeah, he probably would have threw it to the defense though, just like Lamar did.
That's true.
Or his receiver would have dropped it. So always one of those options.
His receiver would have dropped it. Ain't that
Or his
true?
receiver like batted it up to the corner.
And been like, oh no, what happened? But yeah, I think just overall, I was just impressed with CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. Ravens, I just want to see some improvements on the offense.
Unless you run an actual good offense.
And I mean, it showed flashes. That's what I'll say. There were flashes of a air raid, high-powered offense that this offense can be. I just think they have to put it together, which is going to take time. Remember, only week 1, so I'm not putting too much stock into this week.
I want to see from the Ravens up front on defense, can somebody be a game changer? Because there's a lot of good players, but nobody you're really scared of.
Can somebody get to CJ Stroud, please? Somebody get there.
Yeah,
I'm begging.
Against a patchwork offensive line too for Houston.
Against a guy who I think Larry Tunsil's the only offensive lineman on that team.
Yeah, Titus Howard's out for the year. The Achilles injury.
So I mean, come on, let's get a pass rush going. Mike, I don't know if you have any thoughts about this game. Haven't heard from you much. I want to speak up, my man.
I let you guys go. You're doing great on your rookies.
Yeah, I love my rookies.
Yeah, I feel like you have a very hard opinion. I like just
transitioning though from number 2 to numero 1. Bryce Young, not the most impressive debut for a rookie quarterback. Had 2 interceptions, both to Jesse Bates. I think they were rookie interceptions. Best way to say it. Stared down the middle of the field twice and threw it right to Jesse Bates. The positives I saw from Bryce, he looked super calm, no matter what the situation was. Just looked calm, cool, collected. It was just making the right reads, as I would say. I just think it's hard when your best receiver is Adam Thielen. It's not really.
Yeah.
I mean, the only reason you're there is because they traded away what would have been your best weapon.
Yeah.
Overall, the defenses in this game did not impress me at all. I think this was just a game of offenses, really. Well, more a game of Atlanta's run offense versus Carolina. I think Bryce looked okay. He didn't look great. I think the interceptions, I think he's going to improve on. I think one thing you saw from a lot of the rookies this week, Mike, I don't know if you'll agree with this, but they just made a lot of rookie college mistakes.
Yes.
You know, things you can get away with in college that you're just not going to be able to get away with in the NFL. Like, if you're Bryce Young, you can't stare down Jesse Bates twice and then throw it right at him and expect him not to make a play on it. So I'm not even kidding, Mike. If you go back and watch his second interception, he catches the snap, looks right at Jesse Bates the whole time, and then just throws it right to him.
Some rookie mistakes.
I really had no thoughts on this. I do want to see them get Miles Sanders more involved in the pass game. They used him a lot as a runner.
I think that'll help.
I want to see them. I want to see them use him more out of the backfield as an underneath guy. He did that a lot with Philadelphia.
Because I will say, from the stuff I saw from Bryce Young, everything that is under 10 yards, he's got it on block. He's gonna hit it every time. And you even saw that from him at Alabama. His short to intermediate game he's gonna hit it every time. We saw the touchdown that he threw to Hayden Hurst. I mean, I think he threw it to Hayden Hurst in the flat, hit him right in stride. That's going to be his money-making play this year. He's not going to be a guy who throws the deep shot. Granted, he has no deep threat on this roster. On the Atlanta side.
Check down King, dude, the new Alex Smith.
I mean, hey, when you got Bijan back there, I mean, he impressed me. I mean, his first touchdown is probably one of the most impressive touchdowns I've seen from a rookie running back. I mean, just goes in motion, catches it in the backfield, makes one guy miss, breaks 2 tackles, and walks into the end zone. So that's a benefit. But yeah, like you said, Mike, check down merchant Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, I think this team needs to get Kyle Pitts, Drake London more involved. I think they totaled 4 targets.
They need to do more than get that motherfucker involved.
That's 2 first-round picks. That's inexcusable to me. You had a young QB. You had to get those 2 involved. Those are probably his 2 best weapons outside of Bijan.
I'm almost positive you passed on Jamar Chase to pick Kyle Pitts. You better start throwing him the fucking football.
Was that the same draft?
I'm pretty sure they were the same draft. I'm almost 90% positive they were the same draft.
Dude, I'm interested, but like that's good.
If he was and you passed on him, we're gonna fight. Because there's no way you can't scheme him open. And even if you can't scheme him open, just throw it up to him. He's gonna fucking catch it. I mean, he's what, a 6'8" tight end who plays like a receiver? I think Kyle Pitts is gonna get real tired of blocking for guys very soon. I think he's gonna get real tired of fucking blocking. Drake London, same thing. I think he's gonna get real tired of fucking blocking for guys. And Arthur Smith, I mean, come on, like, just get these guys the football, please.
Atlanta was also, I felt, way too squishy up front. I felt Carolina could do pretty much anything they wanted running the ball.
Yep. I mean, defensively, AJ Terrell. And that's another thing. You go back to Bryce Young, you're facing probably not a great secondary, but I'd say a solid to good secondary. You know,
probably like the 18th ranked secondary.
AJ Terrell, Jeff Okudah, Jesse Bates. You know, I like you said, a middle of the pack secondary for your first NFL game. I think he played pretty well. And then, like you said, Atlanta, nothing impressed me besides really Bijan, which is who I was looking forward to seeing all the rookies, whether it was receivers, whether it was, as you know, I didn't touch on one specific rookie because he didn't really do much this weekend. I still love you, JSN. I won't bash you like that. You're more of a man than the number 5 pick is. I'll say that much. I won't bash my boy JSN. Guy's playing with just had surgery on his wrist 2 weeks ago.
Well, for the record too, Kyle Pitts was pick number 4 and Jamar Chase went pick number 5.
Okay.
So you drafted Kyle Pitts
over Jamar Chase.
It wasn't Justin Jefferson in that. No, he was the year before.
No, as I said, I don't think that.
You know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of the fact that Jalen Reagor was picked over Justin Jefferson, and now they're on the same. Now they're on the same team.
You got 1A, 1B. You know.
Hey, speaking of that game, I think we can slide our way over to Minnesota. Talk about Baker fucking Mayfield, boys. Walks in to Minnesota and steals a win from Kirk O'Chains and the Minnesota Vikings. Mike, what are we doing? What the fuck happened?
I didn't get to watch a lot of this game, but it just felt like when Baker Mayfield was doing well in Cleveland, he had a swagger to him. He just felt like he had it back now. And he never felt like he had it last year in Carolina or with the Rams. He just felt, on Sunday, though, it just felt different. Felt like he had it back. He knew where he was going on every play.
That touchdown to Mike Evans was a very nice throw, I will say. That was one of the better throws I've seen from him. Hit him in stride. I'm going to say this, just point blank simple. I think the Vikings lost this game more than the Bucs won it. Kirk Cousins threw a pick in the red zone that was just inexcusable. Justin Jefferson, back to doing Jay Jetta's things, best receiver in the NFL. I don't have to speak much on him, but 2 catches for 12 yards in the second half. I don't know if Kirk Cousins just has this thing where he forgets that he has the best receiver on his team. But Mike, I don't know if you agree with me, but I just genuinely think he has to forget. There's no other excuse. He just has to forget that he has him on his team. Or the Vikings in general just forget that number 18 plays for them and not every other team.
I cannot say. I've only watched highlights of this. I haven't gone in to actually watch the game yet.
Because, Justin Jefferson was doing whatever he wanted in the first half. I think he said it in his postgame or during the week. He said, I was open. The ball just wasn't finding me. And that right there, that's inexcusable. He should be the first read on every single play.
He going to be the next Vikings receiver to get himself traded?
Oh, yeah. What do you mean? Of course.
Oh, what? So if we're going based on paths there, he's just going to have a better career wherever he ends up going, right? Because, Randy Moss, had 23 touchdowns, had pretty good. Stephon Diggs got to go play with Josh Allen, became a top 5 receiver in the NFL. That's pretty good. But, yeah, I think he's, I hope, at least for my sake, because I'm a big Justin Jefferson guy, as you can see, big Justin Jefferson fan, have him in fantasy. My goat. But Yeah, I think he'll skedaddle out of there. Jordan Addison looked pretty good. I'll say caught a touchdown. I think I don't remember, but I think he did.
I believe.
I believe he was the only receiver to catch a touchdown from Kirk Cousins. Or no, because Kirk threw like 3 of them, right? I don't remember.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
one
but
to Jordan and 1 to Madison. So 1 out of the back.
yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, we're going into the red zone and we're still not even trying to get Justin Jefferson the ball.
9 receptions for 150 yards, dude. He does what he wants on a football.
Yeah, but think about that. 9 receptions for how many? You said 150.
150.
150. So you're telling me that he had 7 catches for like a 145, basically, or close to, or like 130, close to in the first half alone.
Oh yeah, no, dude, guy could do what he wants on a football field, like you said. It's just a matter of I don't know why, but Cousins doesn't find him.
Because it
Doesn't
seems
believe
like
what he sees. I don't know.
It seems like we have this happen multiple times a year where Justin Jefferson has an insane first half and then you just don't hear from him in the second half, and then you go back and watch the tape and it's like, well, he's fucking open.
Why aren't you going to him? I don't know.
Why aren't we throwing him the ball? Like, he's cooking double teams. They got to put 3 guys over there to stop him. But yeah, from this game, I mean, that Vikings defense is still garbage. It didn't improve whatsoever. It's still so bad. And by the way, I forgot Harrison Smith was still playing. Completely forgot. So that was a cool reminder. Mike, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go next?
Smith was still playing.
I don't know how many more games you want to cover, because there's I think there's 2 more games that I really want to talk about, but besides that, I don't really have any.
I really want to cover Monday night, but I think we got to do that last. So what game do you want?
I'm thinking we either go to Soldier Field or we go down to SoFi Stadium. Which one would you like to talk about?
I will be completely transparent. I haven't gone back to watch either of these games yet, so this is going to be all you.
Oh, all right. All right, Mike. You're not helping me there, brother.
Nah, dude. Dolphins, Chargers.
Okay. So do we want to... Okay, so I guess we're talking about the Dolphins and Chargers.
My big thing is the offenses looked ridiculous.
I'm going to look into the camera when I say this. I would like to personally apologize to Josh McDaniel, Nathaniel Hackett. I'm trying to think of other bad coaches. Give me some names.
I think those are the main 2 you've yelled about.
No, but there's other coaches that I need to apologize to.
Matt Eberflus.
Matt Eberflus. I need to apologize to you.
Jonathan Gannon.
Jonathan Gannon. Brian Staley is the worst coach in the entire NFL. Mike, when you go back and watch this tape, there is a possession where Khalil Mack is one-on-one in man coverage with Tyreek Hill.
That's a great decision.
What do you mean, dude? They just put their best defensive player on a guy.
One-on-one. Khalil Mack against Tyreek Hill. I can't do it.
Can't do it?
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I just think
What are we doing?
I think that game represented the league nowadays.
What the fuck are we doing, Brian Staley? What are we doing? Why are we playing man coverage against Tyreek Hill? Why?
This guy is a defensive head coach. His defensive ranks in 3 years, 23rd, 20th, and 32nd. That's a defensive head coach.
Wow. I didn't know it was that bad.
Oh, it's bad.
I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad.
Worst part is they have such good names, or they just never mesh well together because his coach don't got nothing.
John, his offensive ranks in that time, 4th, 9th, 2nd.
But he's a defensive
No
coach.
playoff wins.
As I would like to say, Brian Staley, figure it the fuck out. Figure it the fuck out. Tua Tagovailoa, 466, and he still left meat on the bone. He could have easily thrown for over 500 yards in this game. Easily, without a question. he was by far the most impressive quarterback I saw this weekend, without a doubt. Him and Tyreek Hill, that connection is arguably the best connection in football. But I will ask this question to the rest of us here on this panel. Is Tyreek Hill the most dangerous man in the NFL?
Yes, he's one of the fastest players. I think ball in his hands, there's always a chance touchdown happens. Him on the field, there's always a chance, dude. Tua will just huck it and he'll find it.
The only other person I can say who's even on the level of most dangerous is Aaron Donald. He's the only one.
I've talked about it with Mike off camera. I think Justin Jefferson is the best receiver in the league. I think
Tyreek Hill is the scariest receiver.
Is the best. He's the best weapon in the league.
I agree with that. I think if you look at it from a receiving standpoint, I think Jettas does everything better. I think Jettas is a better route runner. I think Jettas has better hands. But as just a pure weapon that you can use in an offense, I think Tyreek Hill is the best offensive weapon in football.
Easily.
And it just comes down to speed kills. It's as simple as that. Speed kills. I mean, the touchdown that Tua threw, I think it was on 3rd and 6 or whatever, stepped up in the pocket, which, by the way, I want to give credit to the Miami Dolphins offensive line. This is the amount of sacks that Tua Tagovailoa have had this weekend. 0. And the biggest concern last season, Mike, that we talked about with Miami was that their offensive line needs to keep Tua upright so he can find these weapons.
Yeah.
Well, we saw you kept him upright and he went off. I think he had the best quote of the week, though, in his press conference. I think it was either yesterday or today. Somebody asked him, what do you say to the people that say you can't throw the ball deep? He says, I don't know, 466. That's all I got to say.
466, dude. Who cares?
I think by far I mean, the only flaw that he had in this game was he threw the interception to J.C. Jackson and he had the fumble in the red zone on the first drive. But besides that, I think he played a great game. Miami's defense wasn't very impressive because I'll say this, the Chargers' run game looked very nice. I think Austin Eckler did a great job.
No, I think this matchup here in game ended up really showing you what the NFL is right now. These are like two teams that are fighting, like you think are going to be fighting for at least a wild card if they're not trying to win their division by the end here.
Well, one of them's going to try to win the division.
All offense. It's just all offense, dude. The defense looked like they weren't doing much. And there were a couple downs they got him and stuff, but like the defenses were out there torching. It was all about your quarterbacks and it was all about the receivers, and like the Chargers switched it up and Austin Eckler was just running all over people. It was great.
I think we talked about it last night when we were kind of testing this out off camera, but it all just came down to what defense could make one stop. And Miami's defense was able to make 1 or 2 stops, and I think that won them the football game.
Yeah.
I know people are going to try to put this loss on Justin Herbert, which I'll give him partial blame. You had the ball last. You had a chance to go down there and win the game. You were unable to do so. But at the end of the day, there's only so much I think we've seen that Justin Herbert's able to do. We saw Kellen Moore's impact on their offense. I think their offense looked great. I think, Mike, you can agree that their offense looked much better with Kellen Moore there being the offensive coordinator. But, I mean, when your defense is giving up that many yards and that many points, there's only so much. Like you read off the numbers. When you have a bottom defense in the NFL every year, it's going to be hard to win games because every game is going to be a shootout. And if you're off for just one game, you're going to lose every time.
If you're off for just that one play, dude, it switches that whole game around on you because your defense can't force the other teams to have that.
I mean, I watched the first half of this game, and Justin Herbert, I think, played just as well as Tua Tagovailoa did in the first half. It was in the second half where there was 1 or 2 drives, like I mentioned, where Miami was able to stop the Chargers. Because the stat in this game was every time Tua had the ball, he was trailing. He never had the ball with the lead. But he just marched down the field and scored on almost every possession that he had. Which I think goes to show that Mike McDaniel, I think, is an offensive genius. I'm going to use the word genius for him because Brian Staley is a defensive dumbass.
Brandon Staley.
Oh, Brandon Staley. I don't give a fuck. He doesn't even deserve to be called by his name. I'm just going to call him defensive dumbass from now on. But, yeah, I mean, overall, I think this was probably, in my opinion, I think this was the best game of the weekend. I think it was this game or the other game that I think we're going to go talk about at some point later on. But I don't have anything else to talk about in this game, Mike. I don't know if you guys have anything, but good win for the Dolphins, tough loss for the Chargers.
Yeah, my big thing was it just seemed to represent the NFL, dude. Just so many yards and it's literally just the one stop a defense needed. How many points did they end up with? 70 total? Goddamn.
I think the final score was 36-34.
Yeah, 70 total points. Fucking crazy.
I mean, Tua threw for almost 500 yards. I think he threw for like 300 against man coverage alone. Or some stupid shit.
Probably. What was it, 466 yards? Like, oh, goddamn.
Talk about some stupid shit. Let's go to Soldier Field and talk about the Bears and the Packers. Because one quarterback showed that he's good. The other one, not so much. Bears fans, I hate to break it to you. You now have a new owner. It is no longer Aaron Rodgers. It is now Jordan Love. Yeah.
At what point do we just give that the Packers own the Bears?
I mean, I don't know, but I'll let you guys go ahead first, talk about this game, because I have some thoughts about this game that I'd like to share. Because, yeah,
I mean,
the Packers did this without their best weapon. That's
second best weapon.
I think some people wrote off this team without Aaron Rodgers. I think that was a mistake, and I think they proved it.
I just think Jordan Love and what he did and looked like throughout preseason, dude, carried it straight in the NFL. It didn't skip a beat. It looks like a man who's been here before, and it's because he's been sitting there waiting for a couple of years.
3 years, I'm pretty sure, that he's sat behind Aaron Rodgers.
I believe it was 3.
I think he's watched 2 MVP seasons from Aaron Rodgers while he's been there. So, I mean, hey, who better to learn from than a guy who was the best quarterback in the NFL?
I think a lot of people also kind of wrote off Jordan Love because he didn't play for a few years after he was drafted.
Yeah, people probably forgot about him and everything, but why was he supposed to just go and start over Aaron Rodgers? People would have a fit.
Oh yeah.
Deep breath.
We're gonna hear about the Bears in the overreaction section.
I will touch on the Bears a little bit. Disappointment. That's all I can say. I was so high on this team going into this season. I will say this. You traded the number one overall pick in this year's draft to get DJ Moore. You then proceeded to target him, I think, 2 times the entire game. Draw up plays for your best offensive weapon that isn't your quarterback. Because, Mike, like you said, you haven't watched this game. When you do, go watch the Bears' offensive line and tell me it's not the worst offensive line in football.
Oh, by far it is. Oh, dude, they just get there's nobody that big on the Packers either. That's like, oh, this guy's getting through, or they're not, dude. They're just all just right on him.
And people are gonna blame Justin Fields, which, don't get me wrong, the pick 6 he threw to Quay Walker, rookie NFL mistake. That's a mistake that rookies make. That's a mistake that Zach Wilson makes, which is exactly what he did.
I would have expected that throw from C.J. Stroud. I did see that clip on the social medias.
Yeah, I would have expected that throw from C.J. Stroud, not from Justin Fields. But I think the Bears that's
not against C.J. Stroud either. That's just a rookie throw.
Yeah, that's just a rookie mistake. That's the interceptions that Bryce Young had. The reason why I don't care that Bryce Young did it, Bryce Young is the number 1 overall pick in his first NFL regular season start.
Justin Fields most safeties in the league, and most safeties don't make that play.
And most safeties don't make that play. You threw this ball right to Quay Walker. Right to him. Stared him down the whole time, threw it right at him. Granted, yes, you're down 31-17 at that point, I think. You're just trying to push the ball downfield. Still, rookie mistake. Can't be having that. I mean, if Justin Fields continues to play like this, I think there's going to be some serious questions on if he's the quarterback for the Bears in the coming future. But I think the biggest takeaway from this is the Bears defense is still bad. It's still one of the worst defenses in the NFL. Jordan Love tore it apart all day. I mean, the one play I remember, 4th and 3, he throws the Texas route to Aaron Jones, who basically just walks into the end zone.
Beautiful.
He had the touchdown throw to Romeo Doubs, which I think was a great placed ball. And Romeo Doubs just went up. But that's what we talk about with these quarterbacks. You know, let your playmakers make plays. You don't have to do everything. Let your guys make plays. And I think Jordan Love did a great job of that. Get the ball into Aaron Jones's hands. Get it into Romeo Dobbs' hands. Mike, you said, was doing this without Christian Watson and still looked fantastic. And huge credit to the Packers defense. I think a lot of people were sleeping on not just this team, but this defense as well. I think this defense went out and played very well against have it be a mediocre Bears offense, but they still played very well.
I think my one thing with the Packers, I think that tight end Luke Musgrove got to take a breather and get ready, man. He could have had an easy touchdown. He was backpedaling to a ball.
Oh yeah, I saw.
I was like, that's
exactly
the big thing. Like, if that tight end, if they can get a tight end to figure it out like that, they can be super, super dangerous with all the weapons they have.
I think Jordan Love has the potential to be a top 20 to top 15 quarterback this season.
I mean, he has the potential to be literally the third best quarterback in the NFC.
Which, I mean, that's not saying a lot. There's a lot of.
I know it's not saying a lot, but like in the NFC, dude, that's chances at Super Bowls right there.
That's true, and especially if the defense can play up to the potential that it has, you never know. Maybe it may be
scary. They can be a scary team.
They can be. Yes, no. By the way, we're not going to talk about whatever happened on Sunday night. We're not going to talk about it. We're just gonna fucking. I'm not talking about a 40-0 blowout. I'm sorry.
I don't even know what game happened Sunday night, too. There was a game on?
Yeah, there was. It wasn't much of a game, but Mike, I know there's one more game that you would like to talk about, so I think we can just get right into it. The Monday night, I'm going to call it the Monday night massacre for Jets fans. Oh, man.
What? The emotional roller coaster of these games. I have no investment in this game. The emotional roller coaster, though, was
it was on point.
From running out with the American flag, everything was going good. 75 seconds, Mike. That is all it took for the Jets season to be fucking over. That's all it took.
Until it wasn't over.
Until it wasn't over. Like you said, the roller coaster of emotions in this game. It went from here to and then it took off like a fucking jet. Where do we want to start with this game, Mike? Where do you want to start?
I'll start with Buffalo. You know how I feel about Josh Allen. This was inexcusable. There was no reason to lose this game. There was 3 interceptions. Inexcusable. Same mistake twice. It's same thing as we've said about him for years. He's playing too much here. He's trying to do too much.
And you were texting during this game.
Every
time he made a mistake. Every time.
It felt like, especially late in the game when they were up, I want to say 13-6. And they should have been up about 27-6. I think he was trying to make one throw that was going to give him 14 points. And I think
that's the best fucking way to describe Josh Allen. He's going for Madden NFL street points. He just thinks because he can throw it 70+ yards that it's going to be more than 6 points.
And I will do something John's not going to do. I am going to cut him a little bit of slack and say, you know what?
No, stop. Okay. Stop right there. Stop. You're done. No, stop it. Stop it. No. He's been making these same mistakes for the last 4 fucking seasons, and people don't want to talk about it. Stop it. He's close to Joe Burrow. He's close to Pat. Motherfucker, he's not even better than Lamar Jackson. Stop it. He's not even better than Lamar.
Our last recording, you said he was better because he's won in the playoffs, though. I mean, this is...
Okay, you know what?
What's going on here?
I'm backtracking.
You're going to have an opinion. At least stick to it.
We're going back. Okay, maybe he's a better playoff quarterback. Regular season quarterback? No.
He just needs to smarten up, man. He has all the
There's no smartening up. The most turnovers, I'm pretty sure, since what, 20...
5 years ago, so 2018.
So 2018, 83 turnovers.
Tied with Jared Goff.
That is inexcusable for a guy who gets as much hype as he does. In-fucking-excusable. Hey, Josh Allen, I know you're not going to listen to this, but if by some magical reason you ever do, hey, by the way, touchdowns are worth 6 points, no matter if it's a 70-yard touchdown pass or a 6. Stop. Just move the ball up the fucking field. You have the offense to move the ball up the fucking field, man. Granted, the Jets defense, great defense. 13 points.
This is where I am going to challenge you a little bit. They were not running the ball well early. They got better as the game went on.
They haven't been able to run the ball for 4 years. They haven't been able to run the ball for 4 years. I'm tired of that fucking excuse. You know why they can't run the ball?
But if it's been true for 4 years, it's not an excuse. Then it's the organization not being able to capitalize on something.
That's what I was just about to say. It's the organization's fault. So I don't want to hear people they can't run the ball. Josh Allen just tries to do too much when, guess what? He just can't.
But he has to do too much because the organization's not giving him what he needs to succeed.
He has.
You compared him to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's got 3 number 1 receivers.
And Joe Burrow makes the simple plays that Josh Allen.
You're never going to have everything you need to succeed in the NFL.
Joe Burrow has everything he needs.
He doesn't have a defense. He doesn't have an O-line.
And he's only succeeded for one
last year.
And he's only succeeded for one. He's succeeded for what, 1 or 2 years? I mean, he hasn't been that impressive. I don't think Joe Burrow's been that impressive. Because the reason I say that is because he has all these weapons, and there's been years where he hasn't even been the second best quarterback in the NFL. Because I can make an argument last year, Jalen Hurts was better than him. But it just bothers me because we hear all this that Josh Allen can win an MVP. He can be this. He can be that. But the same mistakes keep reappearing. Trying to play hero ball. I understand you can't run the football. That doesn't excuse the fact that you still threw 3 interceptions and lost a fumble. That, yes, you lost. Because, yeah, you missed the snap. But then you picked it back up and then coughed it up again. So, no, it wasn't, it was a bad snap. No, you missed the snap, picked the ball back up, and then dropped it. And then your 3 interceptions. The first one, I'll give you. You threw a punt. But then the next, you gave a guy $250K. That's what you did. You paid a defensive back $250K. You paid it for him. Because you wanted to be hero ball. It's frustrating because I think we all know Josh Allen can be better than this. And it's just like he refuses to be better than this. It's like he's refusing.
It's a mindset. And he's like you said, he's in a mindset where he has to go out there and win a game. Where that is not how you play in NFL.
I think I have the answer. He thinks he's Patrick Mahomes, but he's just not. He thinks he can do what Patrick Mahomes can do. The only difference is Patrick Mahomes can do it and he can't. Because I don't see Patrick Mahomes maybe every once in a while, but I don't see Patrick Mahomes just doing this. When was the last time, Mike, you saw Pat Mahomes throw for 3 picks in a game?
I don't think he's ever had 2 in a game.
I don't think he's ever had 2 in a game. And
but let me tell you, this goes back to what I was saying. Patrick Mahomes has a team around him. He doesn't have a great team. I'm not saying that. He does not have a team that he has to play hero ball on. Josh Allen's had 1 legitimate weapon his entire career. Nobody else in that team is even above average. That offensive line might be the worst in the league. You talked about Arizona and Chicago.
I don't think
that Bills line might be the worst I've ever seen.
But my counter
worst I saw this weekend.
I don't think Kansas City's offensive line's that great. I think the same way we look at Stephon Diggs, I think Travis Kelce is Patrick Mahomes is Stephon Diggs. Besides that, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, really? This is what we're doing?
Sky Moore or Gabe Davis?
Neither. They both suck.
You got to pick one. Pick one.
I'll take Sky Moore over Gabe Davis because at least Sky Moore can do a little more.
Kadarius Toney or Gabe Davis?
I'll take Gabe Davis.
You're full of crap.
Yeah, you're right. You know what?
You don't even believe that.
I'd take Kadarius Toney over Gabe Davis.
Isaiah Pacheco or James Cook?
I mean,
Jerick McKinnon or James Cook? We both know you're taking both the Chiefs running backs.
Well, Damian Harris is over
Damian
there.
Harris,
And I would take Damian Harris over Isaiah Pacheco and Jared McKinnon. I would take Damian Harris over both.
Yeah, they didn't use
in my
Damian Harris at all, it felt like.
But
in this game.
but that's what we're talking about, though, Mike. Is now they actually have a decent running back, and they didn't use it. So
that's still not Josh Allen's fault. He doesn't call plays.
So maybe I'm too hard on Josh Allen. I will say 3 picks and a fumble is still inexcusable.
Yeah, I said that. It's inexcusable. But
83 turnovers since 2018 or whatever it is, inexcusable. But the play calling has something to do with that, which is why
that will be skewed by the fact he turned the ball over a lot his first 2 years. He was very raw those years.
But I don't even like.
Well, I think it comes down to at the point where
there
your
was a
quarterback.
couple of years, I want to say he totaled like 17 turnovers from 21 and 22.
Which
he
is
did have a
insane.
stretch like that.
Still, like, it's not bad, but still, it's a lot. But Mike, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
I just think it has big to do with you don't elevate players. Players used to get elevated by a quarterback. So, yeah, you could go through the whole list of everything that's wrong with a team, but
this is where
he's not in control of any of that. He's in control of what he can do and what he can try to motivate his team to help him do.
But do you think he elevates anybody on his team? Does he make?
No. I think there's only one player in the NFL right now that elevates the players around him.
I think there's like 2.
Mine's only Patrick Mahomes. I don't think anyone else elevates anybody else.
I think Burrow elevates slightly.
I see. As much as you want to say that, we look at that roster and say there's 3 freaking wide receiver ones.
Fair.
There's nobody for him to elevate. That's my problem with that one. He can't elevate
I would
people
say
that
Matt
are
Stafford
nasty.
elevates receivers, especially young receivers.
I would say
after this week, yes,
he's
definitely there.
I would say Stafford does it. In my opinion alone, I would say Stafford does a good job at like improving his teammates around him. I think Joe Burrow does a great job at it. I think Deshaun Watson did a pretty good job at it this past weekend. I think he did good. I think Jalen Hurts, especially from last year, I think Jalen Hurts did a fantastic job. I'm not going to say Lamar yet. He's close.
I think Trevor's close.
I think Trevor as well. I think Trevor's also very close. I'm going to have to see how the rest of this year goes with Zay Jones and all them. I think he's also very close. So I think there's a little more than just one guy who
I don't think Lamar is anywhere near that. Joe Burrows, I think, has the potential to do it, but he's not in a place where he can. I don't think Jalen Hurts is elevating anybody on his team. We saw what A.J. Brown could do beforehand, and he just went in there and did it with a better quarterback who actually could throw him a good ball.
That's where I'll challenge you. It felt like A.J. Brown unlocked a new level when he went to Philadelphia.
A.J. Brown.
And I think it was because he had an actual quarterback who would throw him and give him the ball and an offense who wanted to use him. In Tennessee, he was just going there to die like all receivers.
But that goes to the point that we said. He gets with a better quarterback who improves and levels up his game. That's what I'm saying.
So that's different than what I'm saying.
Do you think a guy like
it's not stats,
Gabe Davis
it's not
goes
points. It's a person.
I think if you
does
put
Gabe Davis go to the Chiefs? Does he go to the Chiefs and he's a game-changing receiver?
Yes,
I think he's better than Kadarius Toney. I think he improves him to a better receiver.
I think
Kadarius Toney was still a first-round pick for a reason.
I think
that's fine.
Ignore the last 10 days.
I think he'd be the number 2, number 3 receiving option in Kansas City if he was there right now. Because I think Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid could get him open. And Patrick Mahomes will just throw his ass open.
That's true.
But I think I don't someone could mention Tua. I don't think Tua improves his team at all.
I think you throw anybody out there.
That's a different case because Tua doesn't need to elevate his team.
But I think he said Lamar Jackson doesn't. I think Lamar Jackson can turn, look at what Lamar Jackson did for Mark Andrews. Look at what I think he's going to do for Odell Beckham, Rashad Bateman, and Zay Flowers.
See, that's what you just think he's going to do. I don't think he's been able to do any of that yet.
I think he has. I mean, he took nothing and made it 14-2. So.
But see, now you're just
you talking about that 20. That team had 14 Pro Bowlers.
That's what I'm like. He's just taking it out of a whole different aspect.
How many of them were on offense?
Andrews, Ingram, and he had 2 linemen. So he had 4 on offense. And himself.
4 on offense. 5. So I don't count. I'm not going to count him as his own Pro Bowler. So you said 14. So you're telling me there was 4 on offense and he had 10 on his defense.
He had 6 on defense. I want to say they had 4. They had 3 on special teams, and then Justin Tucker, of course.
So what are we talking about? You can't say 14
How many other
Pro
QBs
Bowlers.
do you think have had 4 Pro Bowlers?
It doesn't matter. You can't say 14 Pro Bowlers and then give me 4 guys on offense, who one of them being Mark Andrews is a Pro Bowler because
But see,
of him.
now I think what you guys are missing from my
disagree.
statement
I
is,
think Mark
are
Andrews
these
has succeeded with
players
a lot of
Pro
QBs.
Bowlers somewhere else?
No,
Are
I
these
don't-
players
I
Pro
don't-
Bowlers on
I-
other teams?
Well,
Like, that's
and here's-
where,
and here's
like,
the thing,
it's a
and here's the thing.
deep-rooted question.
I think when we look at this, we can't just take everybody and put them on the Chiefs or the Bengals and teams like that. We can't do that.
No.
If
I
I
think
take
Mark
Mark
Andrews
Andrews and put him in Indianapolis, he's not the same he's not the same tight end that he is playing with Lamar Jackson. I don't even think
No,
he's the
'cause
same tight end playing with Deshaun Watson that he is playing with Lamar Jackson. But yeah, of course, if I give him Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, yeah, of course he's going to look better than he's going to look with Lamar Jackson, because I think those guys are better than Lamar Jackson. But if you put him with a quarterback that I don't think is better than Lamar Jackson, I don't think he's going to look better.
Let's put him.
But
with
see,
Jared
so
Goff right
you're
now. Do you
just
think he's a
looking
Pro
at,
Bowler?
like, you're pure, like, that guy will get him the ball easier. Like, that I agree with. But that's not necessarily elevating your team and elevating all the players around
I
you.
think the top 5 quarterbacks could take anything and elevate it and make it better. The top 5. I think they can all do it. I think they can take it and make it better. Where I can put them anywhere and they can make a team better by themselves. That's what I think, personally.
I don't think nowadays it does that. I think there used to be players that could do that. I just don't think there's as many anymore.
I mean, maybe not at quarterback. I think in the NFL, there's definitely plenty. I mean, fuck, I'm wearing one of them. I could put Justin Jefferson anywhere and he instantly makes an offense better.
Oh, no, 100%. But I still think that's pure games. That's pure statistic in game. That's not you
what this
elevating everything around you to be successful.
If you're elevating, then the numbers are going to look better if it's elevating.
Right. I agree.
Like if you take the numbers of the Ravens with Joe Flacco versus the numbers with Lamar Jackson elevated whatever was there.
Right. But
if you look at the Chiefs with Alex Smith to Patrick Mahomes elevated whatever Alex Smith had.
But now Lamar hasn't done it because he's not elevating them up to the next level of playoffs and Super Bowls and everything. Like there's
then in that case,
so many steps to this.
In that case, there's only 2 quarterbacks that have done that. Then there's like 2 or 3 quarterbacks that have done it. That's it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it used to be bigger. It's right now. I think 10 years ago there was a lot more. There was a lot more of them.
You're talking about an NFL that was run by Brady and Manning?
Brady, Manning, Big Ben made receivers look amazing when they're not.
Stop it. No.
Why not? What's the difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying?
Because he had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell on his offense.
But before that and after that.
And how'd they do without it? They were nothing. They were like average.
That's elevating.
That's still elevated the players around him who were terrible and made them a good team.
Hold on. Where was Antonio Brown drafted?
I have no idea.
7th round? 6th round pick.
Damn it, I was fucking close. I need to put
If that's not elevating players, I don't know what is.
But do you think Big Ben elevated Antonio Brown more than Antonio Brown elevated Big Ben and made him look better?
Absolutely.
You think Big Ben made Antonio Brown look better than Antonio Brown made Big Ben?
Absolutely.
See, I think that's crazy.
Which one succeeded without the other?
I think they both succeeded without each other because
how did Antonio Brown succeed after? He getting cut from 3 different teams?
That has nothing to do with his on the field play. And you know that, Mike. You can't seriously look me in the eyes and say that has to do with what he does on the football field.
But he barely played without him, so how can we say that?
Because then we can't use him as an example then.
You're the one that brought him up.
No, Mike brought up Big Ben. I said back then when he's bringing up all these other floor-raising quarterbacks, I think it's only Brady and Manning. That's it. I think it's simply only Brady and Manning.
All right.
You don't think Aaron Rodgers elevates?
I don't think Ben much anymore. You brought him up. Had Martavis Bryant. How do you do without him? And Marcus Wheaton.
I don't even know what the fuck they
I think Ben Roethlisberger looked good ever since he was a goddamn rookie, and he never really stumbled over anything.
I don't know what Martavis Bryant and them did with or without Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know.
I'll tell you what.
I'm not a Steelers fan.
Martavis Bryant left, and he didn't have as many yards in 3 years combined with the Raiders as he had in his last year with Pittsburgh.
Well, who was his quarterback in Oakland?
Derek Carr.
But welcome to this point of he was there, left, and then you never hear from him again because
Mike
person
Wallace
that was
in
there was
Pittsburgh.
elevating
Mike Wallace
him.
in Pittsburgh, and he had Joe Flacco. That's a respectable QB.
He's okay.
He didn't elevate.
Joe Flacco didn't know. No, I think that's the only.
But he didn't go to some bump. He didn't go. Well, he had Tannehill first, but then he had Flacco.
Okay.
He didn't have,
like,
I
don't know. I just think there's
Kirk
levels.
Cousins.
I think there's levels when we talk to elevation. I think that Lamar, Burrow, and guys like that, I think they elevate much more than guys like Big Ben, Eli, Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, all of those guys did. Because I think
for sure. That's not. I thought you were saying he didn't elevate people at all. That's what I was saying.
No. So I think my point is that nowadays that, like, yes, there was quarterbacks back then who elevated players, but not to the level that these guys are elevating offenses.
I just think the players that they're playing with are better than the ones they played with before, and that's what makes you believe that.
Well, I mean, yeah, that just happens in every sport.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think there's as much to elevate. So I think like the elevation level is a lot less. There's not as many people elevating people because
But
some of them you don't have to.
Let me, Mike.
I'm confident in saying right now, if I took Joe Burrow and put him, say, on the Giants in replace of Eli Manning, the Giants are better with Joe Burrow than they were with Eli Manning. They're better with Joe Burrow.
Well, but that's, of course, because that's where we get to the athletes better now. Of course he's going to be better than Eli.
But with the elevation factor, I just think that Joe Burrow is just a better quarterback than Eli Manning. So he'll elevate everything around him more than Eli Manning can elevate it. Because I think there's just a ceiling that certain players can hit. And I think Joe Burrow's ceiling is just higher than Eli Manning's ceiling. I think Lamar Jackson's
But I don't think that
is
has to
higher.
do with what he elevates around him. Like Joe Burrows, I can't say elevates anything because he has it around him. He's had all of what he needed.
But to say that, if it's all of what he needed, if you take Eli Manning and put him in Joe Burrow's situation, I think the Bengals are worse with Eli Manning than they are with Joe Burrow right now. I think the Bengals are
I agree that that's true, but I think that still gets to the athletes better now. I think any of these old quarterbacks you try to put in the league now are going to get their asses smoked.
I don't think if you take Rodgers from back then, I don't think he gets his ass. Like, I think Phillip Rivers makes the Bengals look decent. I don't think he makes them look better, but he makes them look better than Eli does. I just think there's ceilings, and I just think the quarterback ceilings of today are just higher than the quarterback ceilings of back then.
That is true. That's 100%
I think
true.
That's like the main point of my argument is that the ceilings are so much higher, which means everyone around them can reach a higher level. So they can elevate
But those players were already also able to reach a higher level without Joe Burrows. Like the same concept you're saying could be used as a receiver.
Yeah, but I think like Victor Cruz could have reached a higher ceiling if he was playing with Tom Brady versus Eli Manning.
Also, if he had
that's 100% true.
That's an important note.
And what if he had stayed healthy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true as well. But like Mike, we go back to Antonio Brown. Do you think Antonio Brown succeeds more if he plays with Peyton Manning versus Ben Roethlisberger?
Oh, absolutely.
See, really, dude, AB was ridiculous with Joe Burrows. I think that was where he was.
But it's the talent ceiling, where even back then.
Do you think this? I think does 6th round pick Antonio Brown get the chance with Peyton Manning that he got in Pittsburgh? Does he get that? I don't think he does. I don't think Peyton Manning deals with 5th round pick.
That's a different. That's not. That's a more.
I can't answer that.
Do we want to talk about the Jets? Because I mean, they still won the football game on Monday night.
I was going to say this whole thing started.
Dude, it was great.
Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Zach Wilson's the starting quarterback. Fuck that. Who cares? The Jets season's over. Mike, our bet's off. Fuck that. Bet's over with.
I do want to say Zach Wilson did not look great. He did not look nearly as bad as John would lead you to believe. The interception was.
I didn't say he looked bad.
You just said the season was over.
Well, because I think it is. Because if Zach Wilson's your starting quarterback, he's bound to play bad. But in this game specifically, he didn't play that bad. He played.
His interception was an ugly play. It was what we talked about with Justin Fields earlier. He didn't use his eyes to shade the defender off.
Should have had 2 picks. Should have had 2. Garrett Wilson saved him. Should have had 2 picks.
Yeah.
Because by the way, that might be catch of the year. I swear to God, that might be catch of the year.
By the end of it. No, we'll see some crazy.
No, but Mike, did you see the catch?
Dude, it was ridiculous.
Dude, if I'm Trey White and that happens to me, I'm retiring. I'm done. Right then and there, I'm done.
at the end
But,
call of your career, just get embarrassed that bad national
Mike,
TV.
I have a question. Where does this Jets defense rank by the end of this season? I think top 3 minimum.
I'm going to answer this in 2 parts, as I often do.
Okay.
Talent-wise, top 5. However, rank-wise, if you have a bad offense, as we expect them to, they may end up ranking just outside the top 10.
Well, they had a bad offense last year, and they were still top 10. And they had a bad offense last year, and they still creeped.
I have them at like 4th.
I think their defense is okay. I'm going to backtrack on myself for a second. I said the season was over. It might not be fully over. It's just partially. Offensively, it's over. It's cooked. It's done. Defensively, though, their defense is going to keep them in enough games where they can squeak out a win here and there because their defense is going to be that good. And
that's all you can ask of.
Yeah, I think that covers the games.
Oh, dude,
that's all I got.
We've been overreacting all episodes, so I think we overreact some more. What do you think, Mike?
I will stand by what I said, John, though. Josh Allen needs an actual number 2. If I hear one more person say Gabe Davis is a 1A, I'm going to lose.
He's like a 4. He's a 4. But,
that's his number 2 weapon.
Just let me tell you. I'm going to put it out there now. If this continues with Josh Allen, the propaganda of Trevor Lawrence being better than Josh Allen is going to start so fast. You have no idea. You have no fucking idea how fast I'm going to start that propaganda.
I feel like it's already started.
No, not yet. It's close, but
no, the posters are still in his closet.
I'm a start.
He's still drawing them up.
Yeah.
I'm still. Oh yeah. The propaganda is still being drawn. The face. Listen, the faces and all that stuff, they're good. It's just I got to finish the writing. The writing's on the wall.
He's got to come up with his catchphrase for it.
Oh yeah, I got to make a T-shirt first. But yeah, I think we've been overreacting all episode. Let's overreact some more. Let's get into some overreaction drafts. Overreaction Thursday, and then.
All right, who's going first?
Shit, Mike, I want to hear yours so bad. I want to hear it so bad.
All right.
How many do you have? How many do you have?
I mean, there's a few I could go with, but there's one I want to stick with.
Okay.
We thought the Caleb Williams race was going to be down to Denver, Las Vegas, and Arizona. I'm putting the Chicago Bears there. That team. All
right.
I hate it. I love Justin Fields.
My overreaction is that the Denver Broncos will make no improvements from last season. They will be one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and Russell Wilson will be benched by week 8. That is my overreaction. Russell Wilson will not be the starting quarterback in Denver by week 8.
Okay.
Mike, what do you got, boy? What you got for overreaction?
I was thinking about this a whole different way, so I'm trying to rethink my thought processes. I was thinking
there's no wrong answer. Whatever.
Well, I was thinking about other people overreact, not for what I would have of an overreaction to a race.
No.
I don't care what other people think.
I don't care what other people think. I care what you think.
With me.
Yeah, exactly. If I cared what they thought about, I'd be talking to them right now. I don't give a fuck. You think your opinion's better than mine? Fuck you.
Well, like my big thing is and for my thing, we're all counting out on the Jets, dude. I think the Jets are going to find a way to still be in this wild card race and might end up in the playoffs this year.
Okay.
That defense looked to shut down the Bills. The Bills don't look like nothing special. I think the Jets are built to beat the Bills along with the Dolphins and the Pats. Like they can still go out there and win some division games. I don't think they beat the Pats just because of history-wise. But I still think they can go out there and compete with just about every single team in this league with that defense. And I think if their offense is just not stupid and figures it out, they'll be fine. But it's a lot to ask because we're putting it in Nathaniel Hackett's offensive coordinating hands.
All right, I got one more. I don't know. Do you guys both have one?
I have one more that I just thought of in my brain.
All right, I'm gonna give this one out as an award to 2 teams and to John, and I'm gonna call this the "I tried to warn you."
Okay, motherfucker. Okay,
John, I want you to guess who it's going. I want you to guess who it's going to, John.
One of them's going to the Rams because
one of them's going to the Rams.
They beat the shit out of my team, and then why do I feel like you're gonna say like, dude? Why do I just have this weird feeling you're gonna say like the Raiders or some shit? I know that's not who you're gonna say.
This is going to the Patriots. I tried to warn you. Don't write these 2 teams off.
Shut up.
The Patriots are still a well-coached team that is not going to be outclassed by anybody, and the Rams have a healthy Matthew Stafford back who was a top 10 quarterback in the league. You said they were going to win. I think you said they were going to win 4 games. I said you're a fool if you believe that, and I tried to warn you.
Well, I also didn't have them beating Seattle at all this year, and that's already wrong. So, my final overreaction, and you're gonna love this one. By the end of this season, not only do I think I'm going back on some picks here, so level with me, all right? I'm going. Listen. After what I saw from Week 1, overreaction. The Browns are going to win the AFC North, and Deshaun Watson not only will be a top 3 MVP candidate, he will be a top 5 quarterback by this season's end. That is my overreaction for Week 1. I got a lot of faith right now. Everything I was saying about Lamar Jackson, I'm now going to start saying about Deshaun Watson. Because he's
Mike?
coming.
I think we end up, I guess, an overreaction kind of thing. Lions, Packers end up competing for that goddamn NFC North.
Imagine 3 years ago, I said the Packers without Aaron Rodgers and the Lions are going to be fighting for a division title.
Yeah, had you told me 3 years ago that Aaron Rodgers was going to be a Jet, I wouldn't have believed you.
That's pretty.
I
still don't
thought I
believe
was
you.
just crazy. You thought last year when I said Detroit was going to make the playoffs.
One more overreaction that I do have.
Yeah.
The Miami Dolphins will be in the AFC Championship game this year. That's how good I think their offense is. I think they will be in the AFC Championship game.
Can I give you one more, John?
Playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, go ahead.
Trevor Lawrence is going to win the MVP.
See, I don't even think that's an overreaction because I can see it. But bro,
That was just a reaction.
that's just okay. Yeah, all right. My final. I got one more, and
I got a real one then. Will Levis is playing by October.
Where is Will Levis?
He's playing by October. Tennessee, yeah.
Okay. Calm down. Pipe down. My final overreaction is Anthony Richardson's going to be the best rookie in this entire draft class by the season's end. He's going to be the best.
Best rookie or best rookie QB?
Best rookie.
I will push back on that.
ROI?
Robinson.
Fuck you. I'm pushing my AR propaganda I'm buying his jersey. One of these days, you're going to see me on this fucking podcast rocking an Anthony Richardson jersey. I swear to God. And I don't even like the Colts.
I'm not a big jersey guy, John. You know what my next jersey is going to be, though?
Geno Smith.
Nick Bosa.
I love Nick Bosa.
Tough
I also
guy.
love Chris
man.
Jones. Also love Chris Jones. Chris Jones, big scary man.
Yeah, if I saw that dude on the street, I would be really scared.
I don't know if we want to preview Thursday Night Football because the game starts in
Game's already started.
I was going to say, I think we're good.
Started. So
I think we're good. I'm going to have dinner and start watching
Let me wrap this up. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for tuning in to the Dumb Jocks podcast. We appreciate it very much. We don't know
with a brief intermission of us yelling.
But hey.
Like always.
It wouldn't be exciting if I didn't show some sort of emotion. I mean, come on, I punched a fucking dinosaur. Doesn't get much better than that. Where else are you seeing this kind of content? I don't know. But yeah,
where else
we appreciate you guys.
You're going to see 3 faces this handsome.
Dude, that's what I'm fucking saying. When are you going to see this? Never. Never in a million
3 faces this handsome, and one of them punched a dinosaur. Where else are you going to get that?
Where else are you going to get this? Where? I don't see it. Where else are you going to see people?
A Dumb Jocks podcast.
Nowhere else. Nowhere. But we appreciate everyone for tuning in. We'll be back whenever we're back. Maybe we'll talk football again. Hell, maybe we might talk baseball because Mike, how was that one good week with Jason Dominguez? Was it cool? Was it fun?
It was fun while it lasted.
Chaim Bloom no longer is the GM of the Red Sox.
The Mets are completely punting on next year too.
The Braves are going to win the World Series. All questions that we might answer next. Hell,
John,
Justin
I hate
Jefferson.
to tell you.
Hey.
I think the Orioles are going to win the World Series.
Hey, Adley Rutschman for MVP? Who knows? But we'll answer those questions at some point. Hell, we might talk about football next week. Aaron Rodgers somehow comes back from Achilles tear. Who knows? He's going to play in a boot. Who knows? Tune in next time to fucking find out, motherfuckers. Peace out. I love you all.
What's John's jersey going to be next time? Place